Hi. The video you're about to see is something I call full metal banter, and it is exactly what it is. It's just me, Rich Piva, and S. Patrick Brooks, three really close friends who trust each other, who talk about things without a script. We're not trying to do hot takes, but they are kind of real takes. This video is us exploring what kind of bands should and shouldn't be on the Doom charts. So look, if you're easily upset, if hearing something you don't agree with drives you crazy, you might want to skip this one. Welcome to f***ing Clean and Sober Stoner. Damn it. We're here and we are pissed. In America, we're going to tell you what it's all about.
I'm trying to fix my lighting.
That's really Dude, you've just been like, even your texts over the past week have been like, we're talking about Doom. That this has not been a great year for Doom. And I'm like, just read Sean's text.
Doomy.
It's all the Doom I need.
I think I might call that more emo than
I cannot tell you how much I have missed you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, with me today are kind of like a big deal. They're members of the Doom charts. They write for various vlogs. So I have S. Patrick Brooks from the Heavy Underground Farm Report.
Hey guys, how's it going?
I have Rich Piva from Rich and Turbo's Heavy Half Hour.
Hello, everyone.
And where do you guys write? So, Sean, who do you write for?
I do what?
Who do you write for?
I don't write for anybody right now. I used to write for Outlaws of the Sun.
Outlaws of the Sun.
Like, every once in a while, I will write a random article and post it on Facebook. It's been a rough. The last couple, man, it's been like the end of the summer's just been rough to be in this business, I guess, a little bit. So, and then the last week, and it's just divisive between people, and it sucks. I mean, fuck. I don't even want to talk about it, but there is a lot of good music though. And like, I'll tell you guys, if you ever want to never sleep again, do a festival. That's
never. So we're gonna have to talk. I had Jason Doom on the show, and then we're gonna do, I think, a how to do a festival do's and don'ts show, because I am just amazed by what you can do and how you guys have done it. And I want to also hear how sometimes maybe it doesn't go great and things that you can do. We also have the guys from Black Doomba on the show who are doing the Tampa Doom and Gloom Fest too, coming up soon.
Cool. That would be awesome. I would love to to talk to people about that stuff too. There's a lot of stuff that's gone right, but there's things that have already gone wrong. I've learned a lot, like in a very short time.
The guy from Black Doomba, you mean Tommy Stewart?
Yeah, but there's multiple Black Doomba people, and the people who are running the Tampa Doom and Gloom Fest are people in various bands, and people from Black Doomba, people from other bands. So I'm talking to, I think, a party of 5 or 6 on the 22nd about these things.
Which spreadsheet is that on?
That's on the tab called Podcast Guests. And in case you're wondering, I do reviews for Musopedia of Metal. Shout out to Matt. I've written for him for a long time, and I enjoy it. I get to do all of the stoner, doom, and 80s hair metal bands. Everyone else takes the death metal and the everything else. I wind up with all the riffs that way. And I kind of volunteer for the stuff that I used to really dig. So, yeah, that's what I'm into.
How many hours a week, Rich, do you spend on the Heavy Underground?
I have a full-time job that in the background, most of that full-time job, there is music playing in the background.
Oh.
I tend to wake up early, and that's when I do my reviews most of the time. So it's always around, but luckily I have a job that allows me to have music playing in the background when I need to, and I'm pretty good at multitasking and hearing and kind of...
Can you put a number to it? How many hours?
Are you counting the music playing while I'm working?
Yeah. Sure, why not, man? It counts. You're like...
14 hours? 12 to 14 hours? I mean, there's always something going on. If it's not this, it's my podcast.
Crap. every time I talk to you, you're doing an interview. So an interview,
Yeah, that counts.
half hour to set.
He's talking about a day, Scott. I think he's talking about 14 hours.
I'm not talking about a week.
day.
That's a day. So I work 10 hours a day most of the time, have the music playing in the background, wake up early in the morning. I'm doing my reviews, and then I do my interviews, and then I do editing and stuff during the weekends. I try not to actually do stuff during the weekends if I.
Sean, do you know what's going to happen to him?
You're going to get on the show and you'll be like,
he's going to wake up one day. He's going to look like me. He's got
I know, dude.
and how much time do you spend on this, Sean?
So I cut back a lot. I was doing a good 30 hours a week on top of my job. And I can't count the hours at my job because we listen to awful hip hop and EDM shit at my work. And I squeeze some good stuff in every once in a while, but not really. I work in a retail environment. It's not very conducive to active listening. I think I'm shit. I said I cut down. I just switched it up. I'm still spending about 30 hours a week outside of my full-time job, but festival has taken up a lot of that time now. I've really cut back on interviews. I miss it. And then I've also just haven't done the extra stuff, the extra content that I wanted to do. So
frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, there's still, I just wish there were more hours in every day. Absolutely. But doing the festival thing is as much work as has been, it's really like as much fun as I've ever had. So
you have that. I do not have that personality.
No, I think
unless somebody is doing it, for me, there will never be a Clean and Sober Stoner Fest.
So I think
rolls off the tongue.
I do think one of the things that I do is I tend to be decent at connecting people.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just more of that. So connecting bands and having bands come to Denver because I know it's a good opportunity for them to network with other bands and hope maybe set up some tours on the way there. And it's mostly really regional bands from just, no further than 1,000 miles away. And, which sounds crazy. I can't believe anybody would come that far, but, yeah, man. But yeah, it's just another way to like get your foot into the, the heavy underground and hopefully help some bands out and introduce some people in Denver to the great bands that surround us.
So it's safe to say that the three of us are heavily invested. Okay. Yeah. Now, my next question is, how much do you make per hour doing this, Rich?
All right, I'll start. And the first thing I'll say is I have ulterior motives of having you on the show about a festival. I would love to do something like that, but I don't live in the city to do it. But I want to just hear about it and see how all those things work. And just to do quick promotion, Sean's not doing a lot of interviews. I am. It's ridiculous. And I just want to rattle off a couple of names that we have on the show coming up. We have Black Tusk, Pale Horse Ritual, Sky Beast, Warco, Mazoa, Friendship Commanders, and Basque, all coming. I've done all of those interviews, all in the can right now. So, and then I'm talking to Idle Lord and Florist, and a band who just did a repress of their first record, and they're doing some new stuff. It's a classic band. It's the band that got me back into the heavy underground. I don't want to jinx it, because I want it to happen before I mention who it is. But anyway, how much money do I make? $- I don't know how to. Yeah. Like, what is that?
How much money do you lose an hour doing this?
I don't think I'm losing. What I think I'm doing is I'm gaining more than money. This is a different way of earning. I mean, from a if you don't count the time I put into it outside of listening, really what I've put into this is like a microphone and a new laptop and a cam, and if anything, it makes me buy more records, so I'm probably losing money in that, but I have records then. So, but $0.
One thing you can think about doing is actually getting studio lights instead of records.
It's a slow process. We're slowly moving towards this.
Studio lights, fucking raw.
Yeah. So
they actually are really cool though.
My wife has been working as an executive producer on the show, and what that means is she watches the episode and looks in the background to see how it doesn't look good, and then comes in and actually moves stuff around, hangs stuff up. I got my florist poster now. So she's doing that. So after
looks
she
good.
does this, it's going to be a lighting situation that we're going to talk about.
My lighting is so good. No reflection in the
I
glass.
know, man. I got my lights are messed up tonight because I've been cleaning my basement and doing
In
a lot
fact,
of this.
if I turn this monitor off, oh, look at that. Now I have that perfect. See, now I have the shadow here. And if you take one of those how to do YouTube courses, that's what you want. You want this here, a little bit of backlight coming up.
A how to do a YouTube course sounds awful.
So the reason I'm saying this is I just want to let the audience know, because we just started doing Full Metal Banter, and I don't feel like, we really did a good job talking about ourselves and what we do. And I'm just making the case that we're pretty heavily invested. And the last time we did this was a shit show. We're not going to go into it, but I was ready to quit. I'm still fucking pissed as hell. And
that was
I had to really reevaluate, is this worth it?
So let me ask, so this leads to the question, and this is not directly related to what you're talking about, but it's another situation that I think has been frustrating for us and some others. So we're all Doom Charts contributors, and we all have opinions on, and we all put our lists in. I put my list in every month. Those are 25 heavyweight underground records that I love every month, and I submitted and go from there. And there was a little bit of controversy this month, and I have questions for you guys. Yeah. Because I think the question came up as what, and again, the rules of a Doom Charts contributor are very loose. So there's not a lot of rules of when or who or what. But I think the question came up because of one band that made the list. What is heavy underground? What would you include on your list and what would you not include on your list? And I have a list of bands here that I want to ask you about. And I want you to tell me if you would or you wouldn't add them to your Doom Charts list.
This needs to be the new game show.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
First, if
Doom chart or don't chart.
Yeah, there you go. You need
damn, I'm good at this. God damn, I'm good at this.
Make a thing for that.
Do chart or don't chart. We have a title for the video.
Absolutely. So first band. If Monster Magnet put out a new record and it was great, would you put it on your Doom Charts list?
No.
Absolutely.
I am with Scott on this one. And because I think that they're far enough from the mainstream that they're still probably a heavy underground band at this point.
But I have the opposite take. I think they're close enough to the mainstream that I don't think they need the recognition of the Doom chart. So I just wouldn't want to include them. Not because I wouldn't listen to the album. I'd probably love it. Not that I don't think it's fitting for the music, but my personal view, and this is a great discussion. My personal view is the Doom charts are for bands that I'm not, I'm going to stop there because I know you're going to ask us more bands.
No.
I think I have more no's coming up.
Come on, Sean, continue.
So I just don't think the Doom charts is what I look for to get the new, I wouldn't vote for the new Melvins album, or I wouldn't vote for Fu Manchu. For me is a real gray area. It's so
that's a very,
but it's not out of those bands are of our genre for sure, but I always think of the Doom charts as bands and that I don't know how you want to put it.
Well, let me ask you
kind of put it not so much in the mainstream.
No. You got to let me answer, Rich.
Yes. Yeah, please. Yes.
Damn.
I thought you.
What did I said last time? It's my show.
That is true. That's true.
And I'm gonna stir the hornet's nest here, because what I'm hearing of Sean, I respect, but that's that very punk rock mentality that as soon as someone has success, and I think it philosophically for me, that's bullshit, because Monster Magnet to a majority of the world is a one-hit wonder, right? They might be able to name one song, which is either Space Lord?
Space Lord, sure.
That's it.
I mean, Negasonic Teenage Warhead was a huge hit, but people probably don't know the name of it. But
I definitely think Monster Magnet's a real gray area. I would agree with that.
So I think Doom Charts needs to have the punk rock mentality that Sean has. I'm trying not to do a hot take here. And because Monster Magnet and other bands, I think they've had some commercial success. And when they release an album, they're going to sell 40,000 copies.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of where I'm going with that.
what Sean's saying, but because that eats a slot for a lesser known band. On the other hand, if we want people to know the Doom charts, and if we want people to understand the scene, then we also have to lead with our strongest players. And that Monster Magnet, maybe them and Queens of the Stone Age, who I wouldn't anyway.
On my list. Queens of the Stone Age is on my list. But it's an interesting point. And I guess it depends on what your thought process is on when you make your list. Are you
I will tell you, I would not be upset if Monster Magnet ended up on the Doom charts either, but they probably won't get my vote.
So I guess it depends on your point of view when you're making your list. Are you making your list based on the albums that you love the most for the month? Or are you making your list to help promote bands that you think need to be promoted, or both? Some kind of combination of that. I personally go towards what I like the most for the month, not necessarily. Now, sometimes I will leave off bands of albums that I loved because they're not related to the bands that are normally voted for on Doom charts. Like, I would have never voted for the Deftones album.
Right.
Whether or not I like it or not, I'm not going to discuss here, but I don't think that they have any relation to the music that is generally
just
on
very
the
loosely.
Doom charts.
It doesn't belong. And there was a bit of a dust up within the Doom charts over that. And I'm still a little not sure how to take this. People were upset that Black Moon Cult, who released on the 5th, ended up on an August Doom chart, right? Nobody effing complained that a mainstream band.
Yeah, that was a much bigger offense.
That was a much bigger offense. And to me, it's an example of the heavy underground tends to eat its own and tends to do things in such a way to ensure nobody's going to get any piece of the pie.
What rule did you, like, when I joined the Doom charts, I very specifically asked which album should I be voting for and what's the cutoff? And I was told it's like, man, vote for what you were listening to last month. And, that was basically the guideline. So, I had a conversation with Black Sunrise, and I'm like, the Doom charts, there's like, it's so big geographically. Like, because a lot of Americans have heard you doesn't mean anybody in Europe's heard you. It really depends on if you have PR or not. That really helps a lot. And then beyond that, you have voters who only vote for Doom stuff and wouldn't vote for Black Sunrise anyway, because it's not Doom, because there's still those traditional voters out there that don't vote for things that aren't Doom. And so we have a really, really diverse group of people voting. And I think if a Black Moon Cult slips in 5 days ahead of the deadline, I don't think at least, what do they come in at 39? And I don't have a problem with that based on how we listen to music, because we all have that music for months.
This is my OCD.
Like, literally months I've had those albums. Baracho's album, I had it for 3.5 months before, so I think, I also wish bands wouldn't, ride or die on this frickin' Doom charts thing. It's just simply a guideline of perhaps what you might want to listen to next month if you haven't heard it. It's not an award ceremony, and it's certainly not a sales chart. But I do think it has importance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's my OCD, and it's also like me hearkening back to charts, like the top 40 charts and the album charts. And when back in the day, you look to see who was number one. I did those things in my youth.
Yeah.
I would see when Skid Row was, had the number one album with Slave to the Grind. That was a big deal for people who cared about that stuff.
I agree. Absolutely.
So I look at it as a legit chart of albums that are released for a month. I feel like since I've been a member, there have been less albums that are pre-released and not released yet than there used to be. I remember looking at older charts and being like, oh, that album doesn't come out for a couple months now. Is it even on this chart? So that's the way I look at it. I look at it like a legit, this is the albums that are released. These are the albums that are released this month. This is what I'm going to vote for because it's eligible for this month. And I'm a nerd that way. And again, you make fun of my spreadsheets, but it's exactly how it's set up. And
No, I think it makes sense.
that's the way that I look at it. Scott, and it looks like you have something that you want to say about this.
I have a lot I want to say. And like right now, I'm imagining Jupe and Remy and a few other people hearing this, and they're going, what the hell? So there's something I want to say right now that I disagree. Like, I am pissed off that Deftones ended up on that list. But when I really think about it, that's how the Doom charts actually works. I don't think we would have lasted as a very loose organization for as long as we have if we did have these rigid rules. And I disagree. I question, what's going on. But, okay, then I need to publish more. Then I need to, it's like Andy Bersky from Black Pyramid called me out about Faytooth. And he's like, wow, I haven't heard any buzz. There's no buzz for any albums right now. And I'm like, dude, you're whatever. No, he's right. Like, everything happens so fast that there's no time for like a Color Haze, She Said, which is, a classic in the genre. We have the 25th anniversary of Solace's first album, Further. Can an album even hit that status, right?
Solace, you say?
Oh, yeah. So I'm glad. So Jupe, Remy, and everybody in the Doom charts, don't change.
Yeah.
Don't. We're just having a discussion, because it matters. The Doom charts, better believe they matter to me. Like,
absolutely.
When I named the bands that I have discovered because of the Doom charts, not Elder, King Buffalo, Doom charts, Mesa, Doom charts, Space Slug, Doom charts, Ruby the Hatchet, Doom charts. Like, there's 1,000 bands that I love, and 950 of them came from the guys that are confusing me and I don't really understand.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to like throw out the whole Doom chart thing, and because of the Deftones making it. It's like, it's not that big. It's just simply not that big of a deal. I wouldn't have never voted for him, but like apparently a lot of people thought it.
I was going to say, like, there are people who liked that album enough.
Yeah. And I've listened to it. I mean, I'm not a Deftones fan, but like I got all the way through it.
It's a different episode.
No, this is your episode now. So
no, I was going to say that
we're not even going to be able to get to it.
Go name a band.
I like
name a band.
I like this. So I remember when the last Clutch record came out, and I definitely had it in it was probably my favorite record of the month that it came out, but I had it at like number 12. So again, like, it's funny you say like that you don't, there's not, very strict rules. I give myself the strict rules, and that's kind of how I
do too.
Yeah, that's how I run it, just to get inside of my head of how I vote for it. So if Clutch puts out a record, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm going to love it. It's going to go on my list. It's going to be important for the scene because they're one of the biggest bands, if not. I mean, you could argue that they are the biggest band that is adjacent to our scene, considering what Queens of Stone Age is now. I don't know if Queens of Stone Age still is adjacent to the scene based on what they've been putting out, but like, there is zero reason why I think Clutch should not be on that. And if everyone who is a Doom Charts contributor listens to a new Clutch record and they're like, it's not in my top 25 records for the month, I would question that, but I'd understand because they have their own rules. But anyway, Clutch, let's go.
I'm not a fan.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
So I'm not saying that I won't warm into it. Look, so it used to be called the Stoner Doom Charts. And then it became the Doom Charts. I'm here for the Stoner. I'm here for the Doom.
Yeah, Neil Fallon's going to be so mad at you.
He's my number one guest that I want to have on the show, and now you've ruined it forever. Thank you.
No, because you can get on. Look, they're just not a band that's been on my radar. And the beautiful thing about the Doom Charts, it has changed my mind about so many bands. and so many things. So my real honest answer, without trying to get a reaction, is no. Bring it on. Let me listen to it. We'll talk about it on the channel. We'll debate it. Bring it on. I have no idea. It's just I'm sorry. I cannot name one Clutch album.
Wow.
I cannot name one Clutch song. I have no idea.
I swear I'm going to use some psychic warfare on you right now.
I don't know what
No,
to say
just kidding.
right now. That's big news, man. That's big.
You know what, Scott? I really, honestly, I don't really find that very surprising. You come from the totally different channel, like the Prague and King Crimson and stuff. So, man, I don't find that very surprising. You know what? I personally, I really love Clutch. I'm not as big of a fan of Clutch as Rich is or Jason Doom. But man, I own Clutch albums, and I see Clutch when they come to Denver. As long as it's not like at the Stanley Hotel where it was like fucking $400 for a ticket. I would, but you know, like, man, they're fucking good rock band. You know, like they just like bring it, and like they change their set list every night, and they're like good to their fans. And the last time I saw them, they were here with Dinosaur Jr. and Helmet, and they charged $25, no fees for the tickets. So there's 3 kick-ass bands for $25. And I'll tell you what, that classifies Clutch for me as a heavy underground band. And I would vote for Clutch albums. And I loved Slaughter on what beach? Sunset Beach or Sunrise.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, I fucking dig that album. Clutch really speaks to me. Like there's a song in there that talks about kids jumping their bikes and crashing and scraping their knees and, you know, and I just like Clutch for me is relatable. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this band earlier. So Queens of the Stone Age puts out a new record. What do we think? Is that something that
it's probably terrible? I probably won't vote for it because it sucks.
If it didn't, right? Okay. Let's say it didn't. Let's say it was Songs for the Deaf or better.
All right. Those are good albums.
What do you think? Is that a band? To me, my opinion here, we're starting to head into, I mean, they were almost the headliner of Welcome to Rockville, which is like 100,000 person, you know, and again,
you're playing in a band with a dude from Led Zeppelin, and that's just like your side project, man. I don't know. Like you're like transcending like the scene, like whether I'm a big fan or not, that dude's like, I mean, when's he going to do his spot on The Voice? You know, I mean, that's where I see his career is projecting to be very famous and like not really part of our scene, you know, do that freaking, the No Doubt lead singer girl who now is married to Blake Shelton and like not really part of the folk. Yeah, that's her name.
That shit's bananas.
Wait,
somebody will get that.
Saying a punk rock band was fake?
Just one member of it.
Josh is the, like, arguably, you've got 2 dudes that are they laid the blueprint. I would argue 3. You have Josh Homme, you have Matt Pike, and you have Laurie S. from Acid King. And for me, they're the holy trinity. Some other people are going to put Electric Wizard in there and all that, but if he voluntarily left the scene and he has no pretense about it. Then Crooked Vultures was a great experimental rock album.
I got to see those guys and it was so badass. It really was.
I know they're made. So if Josh went back to his roots and if he did a desert rock album or a stoner rock or whatever, of course it would. I'd listen to it. But nothing he's done since Era Vulgaris would I even count, you know? So it depends on the record. If Queens of the Stone Age came out with something like their first album, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Okay, cool.
Agree.
So you mentioned Fu Manchu earlier. To me, that's a given. I don't think Fu Manchu needs to be on the list when they have a new record. That's my opinion. I don't think Fu Manchu is one that you leave on. Because, again, you're talking about transcending the scene. Like, to me, they're one of those bands. Like, they...
Here's what...
Go ahead. Sean, go please.
No, my opinion on Fu Manchu is either you shouldn't vote for them or they should have the #1 album. But there's like fucking nothing in between. Either they should be on the list at #1 or they shouldn't be on the list, because because every Fu Manchu album for me is like, well, that's what it's all fucking about. I mean, like, this is like, if we were...
So the writer, Tony Van Dorsen, who does Fast and Boldness, got me into the Doom charts. And he and I used to argue all the time about headphones and about music. And I said something about Ruby the Hatchet, that, ooh, the hype on this one. And he IM'd me and said, what do you mean hype? What are you trying to say? It's like, Fu Manchu has never had a gold album. Have they sold more than 20, 30? They're the ultimate underground band, right? Like, you meet 1,000 people on the street, you're the only one talking to them that knows who Fu Manchu is. Like, they're one of the greatest bands in history and totally in obscurity. Does that make sense?
Yes. But they're probably one of the biggest bands of our scene, right? Like,
they kind of, they leaked out a little bit, like I discovered Fu Manchu by playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
And so like, that's like, so people who really aren't into our scene may have heard of Fu Manchu, but you're right. As far as like, oh, fuck yeah, I listen to Fu Manchu. Yeah. I don't run into a lot of people who tell me that.
Would you say the same thing about Dozer?
Dozer even more. No, I wouldn't. Dozer, like, I might if I lived in Europe. I might if I lived in Sweden. I wonder if my opinion wouldn't be different. But here, no. I put on Dozer in the shop the other day, and we listened to it for over an hour and a half before finally someone turned it off, and someone started inserting pirate shanties in between the songs, and they called Dozer a dofer. But besides that, like they listened to it and liked it. I know I'm going off on a tangent.
Fine.
No, I would absolutely Dozer, Domcraft, Kal-El, those bands. I'm voting for them on the Doom charts.
Here's where my head is going, and the reason why I even listed Fu Manchu and a band like Monster Magnet. It's because they were
Speak up a little.
Yeah, they were on major labels at one point in time. Like, labels used to matter here in the U.S. Like, being on a major label in the 90s mattered. And it didn't matter. It didn't make you sell a lot of records, but it mattered that you were on those labels. Fu Manchu had records on major labels. It makes it different compared to a Dozer here, especially in the U.S., especially people who worked in a record store in the 90s when you saw them come through and how they were or were not promoted. So I think that's where there's a big difference between a band like a Dozer, who is huge in the heavy underground, and a band like Fu Manchu. A time in the spotlight of being on a major label and potentially heading towards the mainstream. That's where I personally make the difference, as probably somebody from the US.
Yeah, those Tony Hawk Pro Skater games sold like way more records than Fu Manchu ever sold. And, they had exposure that a lot of bands on our scene just simply don't and probably won't get.
I don't understand what I'm hearing. I really don't.
Okay.
Because it sounds to me like we're discounting any band that had, if it even looked like a chance for mainstream success.
Oh, I haven't said any of them should not be on. I've actually said all of the bands should be on the Doom charts.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just the rebel.
Yeah, I
just want to make sure.
I have yet to say one.
What I'm hearing, but the fact that you're even questioning it, I'm lost. Why Fu Manchu would even...
Well, the line. So we're all drawing a line, though, right? So we're all drawing. We're not going to vote for what's the album that we all were displeased that made it this month? The
Deftones.
Yeah, the Deftones album. So we're all drawing this line, and for some of us, this line is not even at the Deftones. It's like, I don't know, where is it? If the Rolling Stones cut a new album, are you going to vote for that? I don't know. So we're all just, my line just may be smaller or shorter or more, I don't know how to put it, different than yours, though, for sure. But there's a whole group of people. I also know that if I don't vote for Fu Manchu's album, it's still going to be
somebody else
on the two charts.
Okay. So that's honestly how I do play that game. And I will be strategic, because I know that there
Yeah.
are bands.
Because I want to give my number one vote to somebody I really want to, that I want them to get recognized, and
Yeah.
maybe, you know, this is like, maybe they just had the misfortune of fucking releasing their album the same month that Fu Manchu did, and they have this fucking brilliant album, and all we're going to talk about is Fu Manchu, and we're not going to talk about the new brilliant album. And yeah, I think that's part of the reason I like the heavy underground, because I like Florist from Florida. That, who the fuck ever heard of these guys like 6 weeks ago? And now yeah, it was in my top 5 too. It's a fucking great record. And so what if it like gets bumped further down because I'm voting for fucking just the new Disturbed album and fucking Ozzy's greatest hits that comes out next month or whatever, and fucking the Deftones. And so I'm not mad at anybody else for how they vote, but that's my line of reasoning for voting. It's like, I'm not here to celebrate what we already, and I don't know, man. I always sound like a fucking total hypocrite because
I know
it's hard to draw a black and white line there,
I love this topic. Who came up with it?
Yeah, we had a topic, right? We had a topic, and finally, Rich, folks, you got
Great topic, Rich.
So Rich has the habit of going, yeah, but that's a different show, so we're not. So at least he passive aggressively took this one by the balls.
I love it.
What other albums do you have on there?
The only other band that I mentioned is, and I say this, and you guys are going to be like, why are you saying this? Again, I'm thinking about bands that have become big and have signed to bigger labels. And it's actually a band like Green Lung. They're a pretty huge.
Who? I'm sorry.
Green Lung.
Oh yeah.
They're a pretty huge band now, right? I would vote for them.
Huge.
I mean, huge compared to.
They have regular day jobs.
I would vote for them.
Do they have regular day jobs?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Shit. John Garcia has a regular.
What is a regular day job?
It means they actually get paid to do it. They're not schlepping their equipment from,
Maybe I have an inflated view of what a big band is. Maybe I have an inflated.
Don't you think all of us do? Don't you think all of us live in this little world, like we're like, I just think like those are fucking huge, and then you go out into the real world and you're like, oh, nobody's ever heard.
I had 125 people at the Truck Fighter show in Orlando.
Yeah, so, that's kind of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, get that.
So truck fighters, they have regular jobs. Teachers,
they better.
They teach. There is no such thing as a big band in the heavy underground.
Well, does Fu Manchu have regular jobs?
Yeah, they
do.
How's Fu Manchu?
I know Bob.
I don't know.
Spends.
I'm asking in earnest.
Okay. Yeah, I had.
But
Bob
like the Melvins,
the
Melvins don't have regular jobs.
But they're not the heavy underground. Wait a minute. No. Melvins doesn't belong anywhere. No, Melvins probably makes enough income, right? That they don't have to. I don't see who's going to hire Buzz anyway.
So that's what I'm talking about. That line is like really difficult, because the Doom Charts hasn't set parameters on how to judge you're going to vote for or not. That line's going to float, man. It's going to float like between people like me and people like who are the fucks voting for the Deftones. So
Melvins, look, they probably make enough off residual income. Plus, they're involved in production. They're involved, they have their hands in many things. Look at Ryan Garney. Ryan is one of the few people in our scene that has left his regular day job profession and is doing this, but he formed his own business.
Sorry, man, I'm like choking. I can't say. I'll tell you guys when we're done. You'll want to cut that part for sure.
Okay. No,
that was nothing about Ryan Garney. That was just about some other guy who quit his day job.
Did I tell you we're live on YouTube?
Like only I do that shit.
We are. I do want to do Banter live. Look, so Bob Bouch, he does production work that he gets paid for.
He teaches guitar all day long. I interviewed him between guitar lessons that he was doing, all day long. He's doing.
Okay. That's cool, but he's still involved in the music business, and I guess I mean that's still pretty cool that he gets to I don't know, but that's still a real job, and I ain't trying to say it's not.
I think Elder might be self-sustaining.
I think King Buffalo is
King Buffalo is more than likely self-sustaining, but the bands that can be self-sustaining are very few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little like skittish. Like, yeah, to me they're giants. Like, if I talk to Elder, I'm going to be freaked the hell out.
Yeah.
If I get to meet and hang out with Howling Giant, to me these guys are huge. But look at Sergeant.
They're very nice people, Scott.
They're very
and
nice.
Sergeant Thunderhoof.
I was freaked out. I was freaked out.
Yeah.
Watch my interview sometime. You get to see a guy doing a lot of this. So, yeah.
I just want to say that I
want to be careful. There's no such thing as a big band in our scene right now.
This is good perspective for me. I appreciate this conversation. It's a good way. I think I
was going to say the Melvins had 3 albums on a major label, and I don't know if 2 of them sold that much. So again, just I voted for the last Melvins album on my list. So
all right, I did too. Fuck.
Caius was on a major label, and they didn't.
I would never vote for those guys. No, I'm just kidding. They were pretty good.
Anyway, look at you stirred up, Rich.
This is
awesome. Like this, seriously, in all seriousness, I hope people are watching this. Like really, I hope that they do kind of have a better insight of the Doom charts and it's just people with a wild variety of opinions and musical tastes. And it really, man, but I'm telling you what, if you have an album that lands in the top 40 or 50, it's worth checking out, man. You might find a lot of, I've discovered so much cool music that I would have never discovered any other way.
Yeah. Agree. Sure. And there are hundreds of albums that are voted for every month. I think I can safely say that, right? So
we do have to wrap things up.
Yeah.
So one last question for each of you. What to your mind is the most underrated band right now that should be getting more attention? Go ahead, Sean.
Wait, was that Rich or me?
You.
Sean.
Shit. The Freaks.
Giving me time to prepare.
It's easy for me. It's the Freaks. I think Ruben Romano's project is fucking kick-ass rock and roll. It's definitely not getting the publicity it deserves. Their last album is still one of my top 5 albums of the year. You're talking about a guy who's basically a grandfather of the scene. I have no idea why they are not huger, if that's a word. Man, they got such a dynamic frontman and Jason Hubner. I hope I'm saying that right. But man, these guys are just, if you haven't listened to them, listen to their album, find some live video clips. They're absolutely fucking amazing live. That's my pick, the Freaks.
That's a wonderful choice. I'm going to stay in my home state. And we mentioned them earlier, but the band Florist is probably my new favorite band. I say that because I got to see them live. They opened up for Truck Fighters and Restless Spirit. They were band 3 on a 4 bill. Liquid Penny, shout out to those guys who were awesome too. The new Florist record, it's called Adrift. One of my top 3 songs of the year with the song Grow. Great dudes, but just heavy. Frankie is just dynamic in what he can do. When I saw him just walking through the crowd, and I'm like, who's that guy? That guy looks like a rock star. And then he jumps on the stage with these big stoner guys, Doom guys who are just playing, and it's Frankie the rock star on the stage. This is awesome. I love this. He was a little bit late getting up there, so he's tuning to the last second. But just really cool people. But that album and both of their records are great. I see big things for them. We need more really good bands who get a lot of press in Florida, for sure. And Florist is my choice.
Right on.
For me, there's 100, but Vitzkersuden is the one that comes for me. I know they don't gig. They're strictly a studio band. So in a sense, they're the Steely Dan of the underground scene. But Vitzkersuden, album after album after album, to me, they're timeless classics. They're an example to me of a band that is to me, they're huge, even though I've talked to them 3 times, I think. But I think Vitzkersuden. But the correct answer, there's only one correct answer.
Here it comes.
All of them.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. That's a true story.
And I hope that as Doom Chargers, as musicians and all that, we can be a little bit more mindful about how much we are holding the scene back with this gut reaction of you're on a major label, so you're no longer, I really think we are our own worst gatekeeper, and it's something that's really on my mind lately.